All right, we have the Takeuchi TL10 V2 and the Cat 259 D3. We have them all opened up. The Cat has both a bolt and a nut that you have to have a 24 socket and wrench to get at, whereas the Tak just has these bolts. You can get it from inside the cab, and whole thing pops right up. As you can see, the floor of the Tak stays connected, which will make it pretty easy to clean out. There is everything on the Tak is right there. The cab on the Tak folds way further back than the Cat does. As you can see, you can clearly see to the back side of the motor. I don't think you guys actually see, I don't think this does it any justice not having the back open on this machine right now. So we can open this all up, open the back, and I can see through this whole machine right now. It is wide freaking open. There's the back of it. You can see it right there. And look, you can just sit back here, do whatever work you need to do. There's plenty of space in here. This looks like a breather to me with your hydraulic tank. The pump on this thing is massive. You have all your fuel filters right there, rest of your filters all right there. The whole back of the motor is right here. I mean, you can just get to everything right here. Valve box, valve body. I mean, everything is just right here. And that is super, super convenient. This thing seems very, very open, which is stellar to me. Even the bottom side. You know, all your electronics right here. There's a lot of soundproofing and insulation on this machine. There is a tremendous amount of it, actually. So now, I go over here to the 259. It is very simple, actually. Now, most of you guys are gonna go, hey, you open the back on the Tak, let's open the back on the Cat. No problem. Let's do that. Let's do that. You still can't see anything because there's actually a wall there on this machine that is not present on the Tak. There's a whole wall back there where a lot of stuff's mounted, and yeah, you couldn't see through it even if you wanted to. Doesn't really matter. I want to make sure this is locked so this cab doesn't fall on me. The lock on this machine activates when you pick it up and lock into place. This one has a pin right there, that little red pin. You just pull it out and then pick the cab up, put the pin back in, and it'll stay up there. Both are hydraulic. However, the Tak was a little bit easier to use, but it's newer, so I'm not going to give that one a point for that. This machine has 600 hours on it, and it was bearable. It wasn't great, but it was bearable. As you can see, you got your pump here, runs right to the back side of your engine. You got your breather right there, you do replace that. You have a plastic hydraulic tank with a kind of unreliable, always disgusting little gauge right there. Then there's the little back side of your cab, your valve box, all that, valve body. I mean, it's pretty standard. It's not nothing that's gonna blow your socks off. Here's the suspension I was talking about for the machine. That's actually what these are. They're for the suspension. Had some open drainage holes here that this machine, a lot of people are gonna go, oh man, that machine's disgusting. This machine gets washed. If not every time it comes back, every other time it comes back, and it gets pretty regularly washed. If we had to go on a monthly basis, it gets washed at least once a month. So it gets washed pretty regularly, and it's still this gross under here. Now, the Tak's not all clean either. It's got 20 hours on it. It's never been clean since I've owned it. Well, I can't say own it, but since I've had it. And it also is still pretty gross. But not nothing that can't be remedied with a little bit of a pressure wash. I do like how open this is, actually, that it stays like that, because that means when I go to wash this, which is going to make my life a lot easier, I can just spray this out. And all the stuff from the floor I don't have to carry out like I do on that machine. So, that is going to be much nicer. But this is extremely open. This is actually a lot more open than I thought it would be. It has a lot more, and this explains a lot of it now. This machine, when you're running it, feels very rear end heavy, which now that I see it, makes a lot more sense. This machine, when I run it, feels a lot more just like it has a lower center of gravity, which now makes more sense because most of the heavy components, like your fuel tank, your pump, and my hydraulic tank, are on the bottom of the machine. So it feels heavier because now all the weight is down way low. So it feels more balanced, but it feels like it's a lot more stable as well. And I thought that might have to do with the width on this machine, but now that I'm seeing this, it actually makes a lot more sense that it feels that way, well, because it is. And that is just impressive how they have all that in there, but it's organized. There's not a hose in here that I don't think you couldn't get to regularly. And you have more of the double protection on pretty much almost every line in here, actually, now that we're looking at it. And that's pretty incredible. It is pretty incredible to see both these machines up. This machine does raise higher on the Cat than the Cat. Definitely does. It gets a little bit more vertical than the Cat does. It's easier to pick up, I will say that. But again, that's a new machine, so this one was probably pretty easy to get to. Here's all your Freon connections for your AC and your, again, just terrible design, right over a grease point. That's your internal air filter. The internal air filter on this machine is actually right there in the back of the cab. But this is all pretty open, pretty accessible. Mind you, 2 bolts right here. This whole thing swings out of the way. Which is, again, pretty neat how this thing is set up. It is a lot of craftsmanship in this machine. And that's not really what I was expecting out of it, to be honest. I was always kind of a big yellow fanboy, but I don't know, this red and gray is starting to grow. The more and more we dig into it, the more and more I'm trying to find reasons to not buy it. And it keeps giving me reasons too. It's just pretty crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have now for you guys. I'm gonna drop these cabs and we'll kind of go over our final review and make our decision.